Welcome back, adventurers and storytellers, to another episode of That Midgard Show's Creature Showcase, where we help you bring your games to life by diving deep into the creatures published by Kobold Press that can be used in any setting you play in. I'm Clay. Joe will be back in future episodes. He's been traveling for his job and releasing a lot of great content on the GM Toolbox. If you're not subscribed to that channel, click on the link above and that will take you there. A link to the GM Toolbox is also available in the description. Today's episode is not for the faint of heart. We're exploring creatures that are as chilling as they are deadly. In this episode, I'm going to talk about a creature that is a nightmare with many names, all bearing the same perilous description, such as whaleworm, follower under the ice, or walrus worm. Most call it a glacial crawler. So let me set this scene up for you. The wind howls as you trudge through the endless expanse of snow and ice, your breath freezing in the air before it even leaves your lips. The sun is a pale, distant memory, hidden beneath a veil of storm clouds that blot out the sky. Each step is met with a crunching sound beneath your boots as the icy ground resists your passage. In the distance, you catch sight of a strange formation in the snow, something long and jagged poking up from beneath the white, like a tip of a frozen tree or broken tusk. The wind briefly dies down, and the landscape falls into an eerie silence, the only sound, the creaking of distant ice sheets. As you approach the strange object, you realize it's not a piece of debris or a natural formation. It's moving. The long, sharp protrusion wiggles ever so slightly, almost like a tail? Suddenly, the ground beneath you shifts. First, a tremor, then a violent quake. Without warning, a massive pale creature erupts from beneath the snow with a deafening screech. Its eyeless, wedge-shaped head snaps towards you, rows of razor-sharp teeth gleaming in the weak light. Thick, clawed limbs tear through the snow as its segmented, worm-like body slithers free from the frozen ground. It towers before you, a monster born from the deepest nightmares of this frozen wasteland. The Glacial Crawler has found its prey. Roll for initiative. The Glacial Crawler is huge and thrives in cold, hostile environments, like frozen wastelands, glacial crevices, and ice-covered shores. Make sure to emphasize the bleakness of the environment to your players, the biting wind, the endless snow, the creaking of the ice beneath their feet. Your players might catch fleeting signs of the creature long before it attacks. For instance, it could be a distant rumbling under the ice, tremors sensed through the snow, or strange grooves where it dragged its body. Build up the tension with these environmental clues. This is a slow burn predator, so let the party feel the impending danger. When it finally attacks, the Glacial Crawler's tactics are all about using its natural environment to its advantage. It has a feature called snow camouflage, giving it advantage on stealth checks in snowy terrain. Use this to keep it hidden until the perfect moment to strike. One of the most iconic tactics of this CR11 creature is its use of the tail spike as bait. The creature can bury itself under the snow or ice, leaving just the tip of the spiked tail exposed. When an unsuspecting adventurer investigates or tries to interact with the tail, the Glacial Crawler can burst forth from the ground, taking everyone by surprise. And that's a perfect opportunity for you to unleash its devastating multi-attack. This is not a creature that charges into battle head-on. It strikes when the players are off guard, and that's where the terror comes from. Now, when combat begins, the Glacial Crawler's features and actions punishes players who underestimate it. It has a few standout features and attacks you'll want to leverage throughout the battle. In its multi-attack feature, the Glacial Crawler can make 2 bite attacks and 1 tail spike attack per turn, and that's some serious damage potential. Each bite does piercing and acid damage, meaning that well-armored characters can take significant hits from the corrosive acid. The tail spike not only deals damage, but it can also grapple a creature if it's large or small. This can lock down the player, making them vulnerable to more attacks or the crawler's other abilities. The Glacial Crawler's features and actions punishes players who underestimate it. Now, the next 2 actions the Glacial Crawler has are very cool. The first is Superheated Acid Spit. Now, this is a ranged attack that allows the creature to target players up to 60 feet away. It deals both acidic and fire damage, which can catch players off guard if they're relying on cold resistance in this environment. Now, this is a great ability to use against ranged players or your spellcasters who typically hang back from the fray. Now, the last action it has is called Acidic Spray, and that's one of those actions that recharge on a d6 roll of 5 or 6. So don't forget, at the top of the creature's turn, make sure you roll that d6 before you start. That way you can determine whether you have this action available to you. So when you utilize Acid Spray, this is where things get really dangerous. The Glacial Crawler's Acidic Spray can hit multiple players at once in a 30-foot cone, forcing them to make dexterity saving throws. On a failure, they'll take heavy acid and fire damage and become coated in acid, continuing to burn each turn. Now, that acid and fire damage is 4d8 each, and on average, both of those together add up to 36 average hit points on just one single attack. And that is so cool because you're not just hitting one, you're hitting multiple PCs. So leverage this as often as you can, and hopefully your d6 rolls at the start of this creature's turn are a 5 or 6 every time. And if not, well, you've got plenty other actions to utilize. Now keep in mind that the crawler's body is covered in this sticky, viscous acid. So if players try to engage it in melee, they'll take damage just for being close to it. Now, this makes it tricky for the tanky characters to maintain contact without taking continual damage. Its AC is 17 and has 207 average hit points, making it difficult to hit and kill. As a game master, you can make the Glacial Crawler even more dangerous by taking advantage of the terrain, and this is something you hear me talk about all the time. If the battle takes place on an icy field or a frozen lake, considering having the ground crack or shift as the crawler tunnels beneath the surface. Maybe the players have to make dexterity checks to keep their footing or avoid slipping into the icy water. You can also use the Glacial Crawler's tunneling ability to create dynamic combat scenarios. It can burrow through the ice and snow to retreat, reposition, or even trap players by collapsing tunnels behind it. The creature isn't just a melee brute, but its only intelligence really is it knows how to use the environment to its advantage. So here are some key points for you as the GM. Use the environment and tension to build up the creature before combat. The Glacial Crawler relies on surprise, camouflage, and strategic burrowing. Incorporate its multi-attack, acidic spray, and spit to keep players on edge. And leverage those environmental hazards for dynamic encounters. And there you have it. The Glacial Crawler is a dangerous, adaptable predator, perfect for ambush-based encounters in any icy setting. By emphasizing its patience, camouflage, and environmental awareness, you can create a terrifying and memorable combat experience for your players. And remember, it's not just about raw damage. It's about creating that sense of dread and danger that keeps your players on their toes. So thank you for joining me today on That Midgard Show, and on this chilling journey into the icy depths of the Glacial Crawler. Some of the most beautiful things in our adventuring world can also be the most dangerous. In our next episode, we head to Sewall, located in the land where deserts abound and forgotten tombs, swift sand ships, capricious genies, and wild nature spirits thrive. And we love hearing from our listeners and value your feedback and comments on the content we discuss. You can reach out to us in several ways. Comment on today's episode in our YouTube channel. We read and respond to every comment, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts with us and your fellow listeners. On social media, the best place to reach us is on the Kobold Press official Discord server. There you can send us a direct message or tag us in posts to join the conversation. And as always, we ask you to smash that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, this pod is also available on your favorite podcasting platform, and we'd appreciate it if you could leave a review and rating. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners who share our love for the Midgard campaign setting. So stay safe out there, and as Wolfgang Bauer says, strip it for parts and make it your own. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. Take care, everyone.